Hey everybody, welcome to What About the Game. Today I'm going to be talking about King of Fighters 99 on the Nintendo Switch. Before we get into the review, be sure to click that subscribe button. That would help me out so much you have no idea. It will help the channel grow into something bigger and better. Okay, let's get on with it. King of Fighters is quite a long running series with 14 games out at the time of writing, and the latest release being almost exactly a year ago, in 2016. It's always been held in high regard, although some entries are thought of more fondly than others, with 98 being the most famous. Here we have the direct sequel to that oh so famous entry, a very difficult and almost impossible act to follow. Now, I have played King of Fighters 98 a fair bit in my local arcades, but I've never had my reviewer hat on while playing it, so in this regard, King of Fighters 99 The Millennium Battle is going to get a fair trial without being compared too much to its older, more famous brother. As standard with the King of Fighters series, you pick 3 fighters for your team. You battle it out one by one against a team of 3 other opponents until one team is wiped out. This means each fight can last up to 5 rounds, if the match is pretty even, or finish at 3 if it's one-sided. King of Fighters 99 is actually the 6th entry in the series and goes against the norm by adding a 4th choosable character. This 4th character isn't used in a 1v1 however, instead they are deemed to be the striker character, which basically turns them into a support move. On the Switch controller you can easily call them into action with the ZL button. Each character has their own support move, and while I didn't try all of them, some appeared to be more useful than others. Terry Bogard was my particular choice. Good old Terry. Also part of this fighting system is the power gauge, which in this iteration has 2 choosable uses. When your power gauge is filled up by attacking or taking damage, you can access either counter mode or armor mode. While there is some nuance to them, you can basically differentiate them, with one being an attack power up and the other being a defensive power up respectively. Personally, probably down to my own noobiness, I didn't really take advantage of them, although saying that, neither did the enemy very much. It seems that compared to the previous entry, the roster has actually shrank, which no matter how you put it, never seems to be a well received move, no matter the intentions. Saying that, there are still plenty of fighters to choose from, more than average for the genre, and you'll quickly find your favourites. Mai is a given, but I also took a liking to Cure, and then generally chose another random character to try. I'd say my main criticism of the roster is just how little many of the male characters stand out. Indeed, I find it difficult recalling more than a couple of them, and I'm sure quite a few look almost exactly the same. Just like most arcade fighting games, it's stupidly difficult at the standard level, especially after the 3rd stage where the computer can instantly react and is just about perfect. It's not newbie friendly in the slightest, and only those who have mastered a character or 2 will make it through to the end. Thankfully, there are aids, similar to Garou Mark of the Wolves. Failing against your opponents and using a continue will grant you 3 options of benefit for the rematch. The first, and for me certainly the most useful, is lowering your opponents to 1/3 of their health. Sure, it's completely cheesing it, but when the enemy is borderline invincible, it doesn't feel so bad, just a little. Even with that though, the final boss will just destroy you, as it doesn't count towards its final form. I managed it on the lower difficulty, but only just scraping a victory after an incredibly tense battle. Something that bothered me was the lack of stages. There's really not a lot of them, and they aren't specific to characters. With only a handful that you'll be fighting on over and over, it's really quite disappointing. To give them credit though, they do what I love, whereby between bouts, the stage changes in some way, either time of day or weather conditions. It's genuinely a way for fighting games to get to my heart. The way they develop is fantastic. I just wish there was at least double the amount. Graphically, I think it's a pretty good looking game. It's not quite Garou levels of gorgeousness, but it still has generous frames of animation for fighters, and the backgrounds have lots of personality. The music, from what I noticed, seemed a little hit and miss though. I don't know what it was, but sometimes there were tracks that just didn't suit a fighting game at all. If you're a regular viewer, then I apologize for repeating myself, but like all of Hamster's Arcade Archive series, you have all the customization available to you. There's a high score mode, caravan mode, as well as Japanese or international versions of the game to play. Sadly, there's no online play, which will turn some people off, but playing games against a friend locally is better anyways. Overall, King of Fighters 99 is a good fighting game, no doubt. Of the Neo Geo fighters that I've dabbled in so far, it easily slots into the 3rd position in terms of favourites, behind Garou and Samurai Showdown. That shouldn't be taken as a wholehearted recommendation or anything, since I've barely touched the surface of what's available on the system. It's a solid option for sure, but it seems to lack in certain areas such as characters and stages. There's a short but tensely difficult single player experience, and of course it's better and more enjoyable if played with friends. The lack of variety though makes this not the most enduring of fighting games available. It has my though, so there's that. Okay guys, if you've enjoyed this review then be sure to like and subscribe, that will help me out so much you have no idea. You can read the full review of King of Fighters 99 or whataboutthegame.com, and you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter if you want to. All the links are below. Thanks guys, bye bye.